This is The Gist, the essential podcast for the discerning listener.
Welcome to The Gist. I'm John.
And I'm Mary. It is Thursday, July 2nd, 2026.
We are your smart friends on the go. They are a major global security think tank. They tracked nearly 150 Russian drone incursions into more than a dozen European countries over the last 19 months. We are talking about unmanned aerial vehicles, or UAVs. Moscow is running a very smart, very cynical intelligence operation here. They are systematically flying cheap drones across NATO borders.
Why do this? They want to map out radar blind spots. They want to test exactly how fast NATO reacts. This forces a classic grey zone dilemma.
Right, a grey zone is a conflict that stays just below the threshold of actual war. If NATO shoots down every single stray drone, they risk a massive military escalation. Nobody wants that.
But if NATO ignores them, they hand Russia free, highly sensitive data about their defence times. So NATO plays it safe. But that very defensive caution actually becomes a strategic asset for the Kremlin.
It is exactly like the Soviet bomber probes during the Cold War. The difference today is automation. No Russian pilots are at risk. They get maximum data for minimum cost. Who benefits? Moscow. They successfully weaponize NATO's desire to avoid a fight.
Moving to the global overview. Let's look at the United States economy. June hiring just hit a wall.
The latest United States non-farm payrolls report shows only 57,000 new jobs added. That is a sharp drop in momentum.
The Bureau of Labour Statistics tracks this data. They also revised past hiring numbers downward, but interestingly, the unemployment rate actually fell.
So what is the real story here? This is not a total economic crash, it is a structural cooling. The labour market is simply downshifting its gears.
Let's pivot to public health and market regulation. The United States Drug Enforcement Administration, or DEA, is stepping in on kratom. The DEA enforces federal drug policies.
They are temporarily classifying a specific kratom compound called 7-OH as a controlled substance. Wired magazine calls this stuff gas station heroin.
So who wins when this gets banned? The mainstream kratom industry. By banning this potent synthetic version, bigger companies can distance themselves from the high-risk, unregulated products. It cleans up their market.
It is classic market consolidation wrapped in public safety. Finally, a quick note on tech. Bloomberg reports that artificial intelligence anxiety and massive amounts of artificial intelligence cash are heavily driving this current election cycle. Tech money is flowing fast to shape future regulations.
Now for the European perspective. Let's start right here in Germany. Chancellor Friedrich Merz just pushed through some massive labour reforms.
After a 7-hour marathon, his coalition finalised the deal. This governing coalition pairs his centre-right Christian Democrats with the centre-left Social Democrats.
They agreed on tax cuts, a pension overhaul, and strictly tightening sick leave rules. Germany is basically choosing economic growth over its traditional welfare safety net. They are desperate to stop industrial decline.
But look at the sick leave rules. They are forcing doctors to act as workplace police. Medical professionals are furious. The public broadcaster ZDF reports doctors are calling this mandate catastrophic.
And it completely misses the real problem. Economic stagnation is not happening because people take sick days. It is happening because of high energy costs and a slow digital rollout. Pushing the enforcement burden onto doctors is just a cheap fix for a systemic issue.
Over in France, we see a different kind of defensive play. The Rencontre d'Aix-en-Provence Economic Forum is kicking off. It is a massive gathering of mainstream leaders.
but they deliberately excluded representatives from the populist right and left. Those are the RN and LFI political parties. They shut them out, even though both groups poll very well.
Politico points out the trend here. Just like Germany's hardline economic pivot, this forum shows Europe's political centre circling the wagons. They are using structural exclusion to lock out surging populist groups. They are protecting their institutional power.
Finally, let's talk about the weather, or rather, how the European Union plans to survive it. European Union officials are making it clear air conditioning cannot be the main way we cool down our cities.
Euronews reports the European Commission is pushing for major infrastructural climate adaptation. Think planting urban forests, redesigning buildings for natural airflow, and changing the concrete we use.
The resource flow here is huge. Instead of spending billions on energy-intensive AC units, the European Union wants to direct massive capital toward permanent physical overhauls of our cities. It is about designing resilience into the literal foundations.
And that brings us to today's temperature check. Across the board, institutions are playing heavy defence. NATO is cautiously absorbing Russian drone probes to avoid war, while the United States labour market slowly lets off steam. Over in Europe, the political centre is tightening its grip, whether by policing sick leave in Germany or freezing out populists in France. The big takeaway today is that survival right now means fundamentally adapting your infrastructure, both politically and physically.
Spot on. If you found today's episode useful, we would love for you to get the gist delivered free to your inbox every single day. Just tap the subscribe link right there in your show notes. Thanks for walking with us, and we will catch you tomorrow.
The Gist, News Digest, and podcast are entirely written and produced by artificial intelligence. The Gist is out 3 times a day, every day, providing you with a liberal perspective on what to expect next. For more information and donations, visit thegist.online. Thank you for listening.